What's up everyone? Today I'm going to show you a really interesting way to sort of layer your leads. So let's get straight into the video. So what I've got here is I've got a stack created inside a group inside Ableton. And what I've put in there is I've put 3 different copies of the Plucks and Leads rack. If you want to check that out on the website, you can do, but it's essentially just 3 different layered sounds. And what I've done here is I've actually created a macro to basically automate or change this selector here. So what I've done is I've got the 3 different layers and I've created them, spread them equally. You could play around with this to see which works best for your sounds. But let me just play the actual lead sound itself. So what's happening, it's jumping between the 3 different layered sounds, right? And the way that I've set that up is I've done 3 different layers. And what I've then done is I've put an LFO, and the LFO is mapped to this selector here. So you can see this jumping around. You can change it to different ones to have a bit of a play around. Maybe you might want to use a sine wave. I've used this random here, and you can obviously change the rate on how much you want it to be jumping around. And then I've just added some EQ to the top end here and a little bit of glue compression just to kind of glue all the different sounds together. But if you have a little look, so as I say, you could pick 3 different sounds. You could do this with acids, for example, if you've got like an acid riff. They're all playing the same MIDI, but they're jumping between 3 different sounds. If I just solo this first one, for example. So you can see it's catching different parts of this melody. And then here's the other sound, the next layer. And then the last layer is this. So I've chose 3 sort of similar ones. Have a bit of a play around and see if completely different sounds might work too. It might sound a little bit disjointed, but and this is all them together again. So it gives some nice sort of dynamics to your lead sound. You know, some of them might be pluckier, some of them might be more like opened up with more release on them. But I just find it's a really cool sort of dynamic way to sort of change those lead sounds and give that lead some depth, you know. Have a little play around. You might want to use 2 different layers. You might want to use 4 different layers. You might even want to have some of these sort of overlap with each other a little bit as well. Let's have a little play around with this. And then obviously play around with the different rates for the LFO as well. You could maybe smooth it out a little bit. You might want to have it at a much slower rate. Now, I've only played around with this on leads, but I think it'd be really good on sort of like acid lines as well, or atmospheric textures, or pads even, you know, having different layers of pads and it's sweeping between the different pads. Have a bit of a play around. Really sort of interesting way to sort of layer those leads and see what you kind of come up with. If you like the video, be sure to hit that subscribe and notification bell. And if you'd like to check out that Plucks and Leads rack on the website, you can do so too. Really interesting way to sort of create plucks. Really kind of fun as well. You've obviously got the random here as well. So actually, let's just quickly go through and just hit random on some of these and sort of see how this sounds. So if I just go... So obviously when they're completely different sounds, it sounds a little bit disjointed, but have a little bit of a play around with it. You might find something that's pretty close, and then you might just have to tighten the envelope. So let's say one of them isn't quite as plucky and it's a little bit more sort of like sustained. Have a little bit of a play around, but as I say, the way that I had it before sounded really kind of nice, so quite like that. So yeah, be sure to check it out. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.